All right. Today, we are here with the Welkin Suite on System.debug. Stay tuned and ask lots of questions.
I
love the air guitar.
It was just for RJ.
Yeah, I noticed.
I wanted to make him feel passionate about it as I am.
Yeah.
That was quite loud. Anyway,
it was rather loud. Sorry about that.
It is.
So today we are here with Vladimir and Daniel from the Welkin Suite. They are currently, where are you guys currently?
Hey, in Kiev, Ukraine.
In the Ukraine. What part of Ukraine?
Kiev, the capital.
Oh, nice.
Almost right in the center.
Not America.
So a couple of quick announcements. Next week we have Forcelandia. That's going to be out in Portland. If you're there, I'll be there. So make sure to say hi in Portland.
Stay high in Portland too.
Anyway, also the following week is going to be Midwest Dream-In. Remember, that is Thursday and Friday, the 10th and 11th, and then the 11th and 12th is going to be Witness Success. That'll also be in Chicago. So if you're around, as usual, stick around. It'll be good.
Yeah.
So as we stated, today we are here with the Welkin Suite. I know we just introduced them. So the goal for today is to allow all of you access to one of their lead developers, so you can ask any questions that you have of him. And the first thing we want to do is kind of get into what exactly is the Welkin Suite, what the idea behind it initially was, you know, some of the history.
Yeah, I know what it is. I've just never been able to. I've never had the opportunity to use it just yet.
Right.
But you know, hey.
Well, I know in our previous episode when we were talking about IDEs, I had said, oh, and there's the Welkin Suite, and you know, it's cloud-based. That was a horribly wrong and inaccurate statement. I did correct it in the comments. I commented, it is not a cloud-based IDE.
It's not, okay.
No, it's definitely client-side application. That's one of the things that we're going to want to find more about. So let's start with
find more about.
Let's start. Let's start by finding out some of the history of the Welkin Suite. If you would be so kind to share it with us.
Okie dokie then.
Okay, so basically the history of the Welkin Suite here, our parent company that does the production of the Welkin Suite called Softing, we started a Salesforce development team a while back, and what we noticed there was a problem, is that our developers had gotten used to having good tools, and let's just face it, today people are used to having good tools to do their job, and especially at that time, there just were no good tools in Salesforce to get everything done. And it seemed like the team, Vladimir was one of the original members of the team, were choosing what tool to use by what drove me crazy the least instead of which tool helped me the most. And because of that, we ended up having developers and admins just like today. The developers and admins are having to use totally different tools, totally different approaches to try to get one single project done. And we just found there was a lack of cohesion that was going on throughout that. So our solution was we need to build one tool that allows the developers and administrators to do their job. And some of the things that we decided was this tool has to be easy to learn, and it has to be easy to teach people how to use, because at that time our Salesforce development team was constantly growing and is still continuing to grow. And so it's got to be easy to learn.
And it should be fast.
And it should be fast. So because of this, what did we do? Our product is basically one tool, an IDE for Salesforce. And what we did was we decided that we're going to use the Visual Studio shell and MonoDev for our platforms, for Mac and Windows. And really, I think what the people like about this tool is when people use the Welkin Suite, they have one tool that's giving them not only the information that they need in one tool, but also is giving them the complete tool set to deal with that information so that they can handle those everyday tasks, and also handle not even just the everyday tasks, but just tasks that pop up that just create a whole bunch of time.
So now, real quick, what exactly are your roles at the Welkin Suite?
So I'm head of product at the Welkin Suite. I was like one of the first guys to start work. Okay, I was the first guy to start working on it at nights, because I hated all the tools. So it was, first of all, it was like my night project, and then it became a full stack product. And then for you, Dan.
Who am I? I'm the only American that's working in this company. So I work on the sales and business development side for the Welkin Suite, and help try to push what the Welkin Suite is out to the people. Because like you said, there's getting to be the point where now people are more interested and we need to show what we have.
Absolutely. Now, I do want to remind our viewers, for those of you who are not currently logged into your YouTube accounts, in order to chat with us and ask questions directly to the developers here, you're going to want to go ahead and log into your YouTube account to do that. And if you enjoy the episode, make sure to click subscribe.
And you can tweet at the system.debugged account too. I'm looking at that.
Yes. So moving forward, I want to ask about why Visual Studio. It seems very, very common. And I mean, I have an idea why, but I'd like some of the viewers to understand maybe the reason behind using the Visual Studio shell. And it's becoming a very, very common practice, it seems.
Yeah, I feel like that's probably the underlying, that's probably the biggest one, right?
Right.
Would be that it's very, very, very common.
It's kind of a nice question because like, yeah, like Salesforce Apex, it's more closer to Java world, and like IntelliJ or Eclipse are much more familiar for people from like Salesforce usually. But like from our experience, we have kind of 50-50 of former .NET devs and former Java developers, because like in general, .NET and Java kind of the same in most things. And from another point of view, I personally, like I'm from .NET world. I hate Eclipse. I hate how slow it is. It's like cross-platform, it's cool, good, but it's still very slow and sometimes it lags. So, and Visual Studio, like, yeah, I guess it's like even Java people would admit that it's one of the best ideas out of there. It provides very cool experience and very cool approach that like, if you're a developer, you don't need to spend your time on configuring the tools, on doing something else, you just work. And the idea helps you in that.
Now, why client-side application versus cloud-based?
Again, like if you remember when Dan was talking about the ideas why we have started the Welkin Suite, because it needs to be fast. So in our current world, like if you open even the developer console in your Chrome browser, and if you open 5 or 10 tabs here, it will eat up like 1+ GB of RAM. It will be very slow, even on a like 8-core PC. And if you want to get more information there, if you want to get more tools there, it will be unreliable, it will be very slow, it will like lag all the time. Plus, again, like Dev Console, for example, like good online IDE, it consumes a lot of API calls because there is no good local storage, and it really like can't use all the power of the CPU of your PC. So like local solution is much faster and much more reliable than like any cloud-based.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
that definitely makes sense.
It's not something I would have thought of. But I mean, once he says it, it's kind of like slapping you in the face of obviousness.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That was a really good answer. I know Daniel had said that you would be able to attack that pretty successfully. So that's awesome. So what are some of your favorite features of the tool?
I guess like I was gonna switch and share my screen, and we can go through some of the like the favorite features and the favorite approaches here.
Okay.
What do you think, guys?
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
Woohoo!
You can see it, yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so then I guess I'll begin from like one of the favorite. It's not a feature, it's a general kind of approach here. It's an IDE. This means that it gets all the needed information in the same place without any need for you to switch here and there between different applications. For example, like right now, like I've just opened the IDE with my project here, and what I see here, I see lots of different panels. I have Solution Explorer with my project. I see all my previous test runs right here in the IDE. I see my debug logs without anything else. I see code coverage information. If I need, I can see lightning bundles. I can see even integrated Git repository. I can see PMD reports and lots of other stuff. And I can switch on or off different panels. I can layout them in a way it would be okay for me right now at the moment for the task that I'm resolving. And I really don't need to think what other tools I need to have, what other tools I need to launch, where I need to find that information. Now everything is here, right here at the same place. It's like one of the first and the coolest things that I love in the IDs in general. And if I have started about the panels, I'll start with the Solution Explorer. And also, like in general, it's kind of the same thing that in any other tool for Salesforce. However, there is one huge difference that was the first feature we have developed at night for the Welkin Suite. I hate the way how projects are organized in all the tools for Salesforce development. I hate that classes folder with 500 files in it, and just like spending 3 minutes or 5 minutes to find needed files there. Here we allow you to create different folders, so you can create, like, for example, as I've done right now, I have created a demo folder where I have everything that I might need for today's demo with you. So I have different as objects here, I have some pages, I have classes, I even have static resources here. So I don't need to go through that view files. I have everything right here. And that's also like very cool thing for everyone who came to Salesforce from other platforms, because I guess like all the normal developers got used to the ability to customize their project structure in Java, in .NET, in web development, even in JavaScript development. Everywhere you can do this. In Salesforce, no. In Welkin Suite, you can.
So now, are these dockable? Are you able to rearrange where they're docked on your page?
Of course. So if I want to go a bit more Java way, I'll put Solution Explorer on the left side. I'll put my test results. I'll put it here. So like, and you can even like take them out here and put them to another screen if you have two monitors. It's like, to be honest, like how most of our developers are working. They have all these panels on the second screen and the editor on the main screen with lots of code there.
Now, are you able to pull one of the tabs out? So say you're working on a piece of code or two pieces of code, we'll say. Is it that you only have the ability to do a split screen in that one frame, or are you able to pull it out entirely onto a new window?
So it's up to you. Can do a split screen inside one file, for example. So as you can see, I'm right now like sharing. You can very easily just have two different parts of the file shown on the screen at the same time, or you can put side by side like this. So you can put tabs as well side by side in any way, or just dock them out of the IDE. So in general, like you have lots of ways to do this. So if you have like 30+ inch monitor, you can have, I don't know, 6-8 files open at the same time, side by side with different views.
I got to get me one of those monitors.
It's a stupid question.
Did we hear you say integrated Git repository, or do you mean that it just integrates with your existing Git repositories, or does it literally like create its own? And
it's 50-50, I guess. I'll get back to this a bit later, but like quick answer, we kind of have both.
Okay.
So, okay, I guess I'll, as I go through some other things that we have here. So, like, okay, information is good, is great, but what about the editing options? So, like any good tool for Salesforce, we support CSS, JavaScript, HTML, Apex, Lightning, Visual Force, XML, Force Objects, so lots of different stuff. You can even open images here.
Now, what about things like, what is it, SCSS? SAS? No.
SAS?
Yeah. What about things like the more contemporary scripting styles for CSS?
Not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Not yet. But for example, so if I open right now an like any Lightning bundle, we have like pretty cool Lightning bundle previewer here. So it immediately shows you the preview of your component. You can even select what application to use for the component preview. And if here, I can switch to the CSS file and do some changes for you. Let me show it. So we have absolutely great code completion here in CSS, in HTML, in Aura. So we even have a color picker, so you can select what color to show. I don't know, what is the color of system.debug, guys? What is your official color?
Grayish.
Gray.
Yeah.
Gray. Okay, let it be gray then. So I just do a change, press F5, and in less than 3 seconds, I'll have this pane refreshed with the changes. Here it is.
That's the color. There it is.
So in just 3 seconds, I've selected a color with the color picker, pressed F5, it uploaded to Salesforce, shown me in preview. That's it.
Now, does it already have autocomplete for LDS, for the Lightning design system?
Not yet, not yet. We are working on this. It's one of our good priorities for now. We are going to release a new code completion for JavaScript, for Aura markup, knowing a bit about Aura framework. We are going to do this in okay, we plan to do this last Friday. I guess that we will do it kind of this week. And later, we will work a bit more on the Lightning design system and on the more tighter integration with our framework.
Now, I got to admit, I mean, I personally have not seen any other IDEs that do this. This, to me, is kind of amazing for developing Lightning components.
Yeah, I saw Brian's face as soon as you showed him that there was. I'm sure you guys guys converted him immediately.
And the cool thing here, like it's I guess for components, most for components, because you can select what application to use. But okay, let's ignore about the application. In our experience, we are usually developing components to embed them into, for example, like account details view. And in order to preview this change, I always have to have my browser opened on the second monitor. Here you can also enter custom URL, which will be used for preview, even if you're using like lightning out and embedding this component to some public website. You can enter its URL, and we will use it for previewing the component.
Oh wow,
Neat.
And we also save all this data, so the next time you like reopen this component, you have the same stuff, and you don't need to remember anything or to do anything. Just do it once and enjoy working.
That's great.
So, and I understand that this is a typical problem with client versus cloud.
Yeah.
Is the state, right? And to your point of this is.
What do you mean the state?
It's saving its current state when you close out, right? The tabs and that kind of stuff. I take it that won't work. Let's just say if I did have the IDE installed in multiple systems, it won't talk to another one, right? Like I won't be able to open it up.
Oh, you're talking about settings across multiple machines?
Well, one, the settings, but as well as even just like what I was previously working on. So if I was working on something at home.
Yeah, okay. So state across multiple
machines. Cool question. No, not yet. It's even haven't thought about this, to be honest. So you always can export and import like your options, your setup of panels, your different like layouts, and switch it between like different instances. But regarding the state, no, but nice idea. I like it.
Now
I can even note it somewhere.
And I guess like the reason the big drive behind that at all would be mainly behind the pulling and the pushing of the code. So if I do transfer to another machine, it is important that you are going to be resyncing the.
Well, that's where the Git repo comes in.
Not exactly. So like you still like working with the same organizations from your both instances, and the pull process is almost immediate. So for example, let me make a pull. So pull from Salesforce. Next, here we are checking for any new components from the selected list of components. We are also changing for all the looking for all the changes. I'm on. Okay, we have just one file updated. That's it. So how long was it? Like 7 seconds. And in general, it doesn't matter how many files you have. Like unless a static resource of 10 megabytes, it will take you like 10, 15, 20 seconds to refresh the changes from the IDE. The cool thing here also is that we won't allow you to overwrite others' changes in the organization. So for example, if you have done some changes to one file on your like work PC and then got to home and made some other changes to this file but haven't downloaded it from the org, we won't allow you to fuck up your work from the office PC. We'll ask you to pull changes. We'll provide you an option to merge your changes with the external tool, so you have nice side-by-side merge tool.
Oh, okay. So like a diff checker.
Yeah.
Yep.
Awesome.
So
and
while we're
already really very fast.
Yeah, we have a question that came in, and it's right along the lines of this, which is why I wanted to interject. So we have Bobby asking, with Salesforce DX on the horizon, how are you guys incorporating the new CLI and prescribed development workflow?
Cool question.
Yeah.
So we are already working on Salesforce DX. We were participating in beta or not, like in a pilot program. We already have like a proof of concept here. We are planning to release open beta implementation of Salesforce DX in, I guess, somewhere in mid-August.
Oh, cool.
Plus minus. So for now, it will rely on their like command line interface. We hate to do such stuff because we believe that we are working with APIs much more efficiently than Salesforce does. So by the moment when Salesforce will release public APIs, we'll rework everything and switch to our own like implementation. But for now, we'll grab CLI with our with IDE, and we'll allow to work with the Salesforce DX with scratch orgs and do all the stuff from the IDE.
Cool. Thank you very much.
I think that's fair. It's new.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
So as far as like cross-platformness, you recently released the Mac version. Is that correct? Like within the last year or so?
Yeah. So about like 4 or 5 months ago. And like, I guess that your question would be, are they different?
Correct.
Okay, yes, they are different a bit. So in general, we are using most of the code is shared between two platforms. On Mac, we are using MonoDevelop as a shell for the IDE. However, the, I'd say, delay or difference between the IDEs in strategic functions is almost nothing right now. There is some differences in UX. There are some differences in details, in small features. However, we are always trying to make them as small as possible. And also sometimes it might be Windows version behind, sometimes it might be Mac version behind, because we are playing around and doing different stuff on different platforms first.
Yeah, so you're using Mono as the shell, you said, inside of the Mac.
Yep,
right?
yep.
Cool. So my question is, my Mac is really old. Am I going to have a hard time running this? Because really, I mean, my Mac is like a 2009, 2010, so we are pushing it. And that's the whole reason, like, I'm always looking at the cloud side of things, because it's all, I mean, it's able to do that. You know, I don't run Eclipse because if I start Eclipse, I have to walk away. The lights go dim. You know, they charge me a whole bunch of money for the electricity. It's just, I just hate Eclipse with a white hot passion of 1,000 suns. And, you know, if I could run something like this and it's actually going to be performant without me having to upgrade my old faithful, that would be great. But, you know, I'm just curious, what are the, I guess, minimum system requirements to run this, say, on a Mac or on a Windows machine?
Pretty okay. Nice question. Nice. So, like right now, we have one of our test Macs. It's about, I guess, like 2012 MacBook Air, and it works. I won't say it's like lightning fast, okay, but nothing can be so slow as Eclipse. So, like, it's anyway working faster than Eclipse. It's pretty. And it depends how many files you have there. So, if you have, I don't know, 10 instances of Lightning Design System in your project, with about like 10,000 files in all of them, yes, it will be slow. In case if you don't need all of them, yeah, it will be much faster. Because like for example, for statics, we are always unzipping them. So you don't need to do anything with static resources. They are always unzipped. So the structure, you see this like right here, you can just jump into any HTML, CSS, JavaScript file, do the changes, press F5, and then you zip it like instead of you.
Okay.
Oh, I like the code previewer on the right-hand side of the window.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And it's very handy. Like in this code preview, let me show it somewhere. Not classes. I will get it back here because I'm from .NET. I like Solution Explorer to be on the left side, on the right side. So it's very cool because on that code preview on the right side of the screen, we are showing like not only syntax highlighting. Where's my files? Okay, we are showing you breakpoints right here. You see it as a small mark here. Once you select any text in your as an editor, we will highlight all of the entries of this text in the file, and you see the small marks on the preview on the right side as well. So it's very easy to find something in your file here. We also show you syntax errors right here. So everything is underlined in the editor, but it's also small marks here on the right side in the code map. So it's very easy to find and navigate even huge files.
Yeah, that's very nice. I like that. That's
yeah.
Before we had this kind of technology, I didn't know that I needed it. But
No, absolutely. Well, it's like when you finally switch to 2 monitors.
yeah,
You know, you thought you could do all your work on one, but once you have 2, you're like, no.
yeah. And then
You still can, but what for?
Right.
And like 2 more things I want to show you and highlight. I guess it's one very big area. It's everything about the unit testing. So if you don't mind, I'll show you very quickly here.
Please.
Yeah,
so we have code coverage panel. It's right here on my screen. And here you see all of your classes and triggers in the organization and the details about their code coverage. If it's too much information for you and it's too much information for me, you can show, you can apply different filters. For example, show only classes with less than 75% of coverage, still too much. So you can even filter out and show you classes which have more than, for example, 20 lines of uncovered code. This means that, okay, out of 100 class files, I have just 6 files where I need to, I don't know, pay my attention here. Once I open any of the files, I can, with just one click, see covering information. And right here in the editor, I very clearly see which lines of code need my attention, where I need to increase code coverage, and which lines are already covered and everything is okay.
That's fantastic.
Now, will it link you back to the lines it's testing in the actual class it's testing? So if I know, for instance, if or is this that class? Is this the test class, or is this the class that's failing?
It's the class that like is tested. We are not yet showing you which class are testing this particular line. We have this in a backlog. We have almost everything done and ready for this from the backend side, but we just need to build a like cool UI so it will look and behave properly. So I guess it's somewhere like before the end of the summer we'll have this functionality.
Okay, cool.
Awesome.
Now, I noticed that a lot of this looks very similar, obviously, with quite a few advancements to things such as the developer console. Mainly this testing structure is what kind of like threw it out there, like that window. How much of the style of the Salesforce's like IDE do you try to replicate, or is that intentional whatsoever?
We hate the styling of Salesforce UI. It's not like I personally hate it. I don't know. I believe that Salesforce don't love developers, just like they don't love us. This is why like we have like very much different things. For example, if you open test results panel here, you see all of your previous test runs. You can open any of them. You can see the all of the methods here. You can see all the details right here. You don't need to go into different pages. You don't need to get the information from different, I don't know, windows or parts. You can like get everything right from here and in a kind of beautiful looking way.
Mm-hmm. Now, another thing on your site is you talk about formulas and the ability to actually do formulas inside of your tool. How does that work?
Not yet. It's right now. So right now we are working on validation rules and workflows editors. And right after that, we'll switch to formulas editor. So right now, no way. Like in general, like yeah, you still can go to XML file of your object and do whatever you want here.
I gotcha. Okay.
But in terms of like the Welkin Suite approach, so with a proper UI, with a proper UX, with code completion for formulas and for workflows, a bit later. In plans, almost done, but still needs some more attention and love.
So you can do it. It just doesn't have all the niceties of the regular code editor, like you said, code completion.
Yeah, because like doing all the stuff in the UI, it might be good, but I guess even for like hardcore admins who don't do anything in terms of coding, it will still be easier for them to just type in 2 symbols and press enter instead of like doing 5 clicks in the UI.
Yeah.
Gotcha. That's cool.
Yeah.
So I do have one more question, and this is really it's really minor, but so I see like many developers I know like this dark theme here, and I do too. I like it too, but I do know some that like they hate the dark thing and they want it all bright and what. I mean, is this really stylable on your own? Can you just hack the heck out of it, or?
Let me just say there's something wrong with those people who like.
It's up to you. So there is a blue theme, there is a white theme, and you can always play around with the colors of syntax highlighting for every language, for everything just out of the settings. You can even change fonts. I don't know. If you want your code to be in Comic Sans, it's just up to you.
Okay, cool. I was
so
just
pretty
wondering.
typical, yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Okay. At least one more thing I want to highlight. It's the debugger and debugging functionality. It's one of the most, I guess, powerful things in the IDE, and it's I guess the hugest time saver for many of our users.
Yeah, I would say actually most of the time when I'm talking to our users, this test, starting over here in this test result panel, this is where they actually say they receive most of their benefit from the IDE. Because they're able to view all their information just right here. They don't have to open up multiple tabs in a browser to see what my test results are doing, to make a test run. I have over here, I'm playing with my browser, but I got to lose my, not browser, but my editor. And because I'm focused here, I'm not seeing what's happening there. And they really like to see all this just in one convenient place.
Yep. So I will just show you like a couple minutes very small flow of how to resolve or like troubleshoot stuff in Welkin Suite and how to save it in at least 20-40 minutes just on this flow, I guess. So for example, in case if we have failed unit test and we see the test method right here, once we select it, we have an option to open a log file. We see message and stack trace, but I don't care about it. I want to open a log file. So we open a log file in just one click, we download it, And our debug logs viewer have like two views. Upper one, it's a tree-like hierarchy view. It's very handy and cool for the projects where you have lots of stuff there, lots of triggers, nesting. In my case, it's very small project, so I don't care about it. I can just hide it. And here we see a regular text view where we have some basic highlighting for different types of events. For example, you can see even on a code map on the right side, we have something red here, and we have something red here. These are exceptions and fatal errors. In my case, I can see my exception, and yeah, assertion failed. We all know how to read the debug logs. We all know that these lines are lines in the Apex class, but I don't know yet in what exactly class this line is. So I don't care. I right-click, I press go to source, and I get directly to that line in the code, which has shown this like exception. So I'm here on system assertion. What I will do here, just to quickly fix this issue in my unit test, I will set a breakpoint, right-click on the test method, and select debug unit test. This will execute our own debugger. It's kind of retrospective debugger. It doesn't have anything to do with Salesforce's own debugger that costs too much money. We set up proper debug levels. As you can see, we are executing the test run just in real time. Once it's done, we download log files and provide you not exactly debugging, but very cool debug-like experience. So if our org won't, yep. So tests have failed. And we're in the debug mode. In the debug mode, let me turn off the code coverage. So what we can do in the debug mode, we see all our local variables and their values. We see governor limits. It's very handy in case if you have some issues with performance, and like in Salesforce, we always have issues with performance. And you see all your debug logs. So you can go step by step through your execution flow. You can see how your variables are changed. You can examine them and see what exactly happens in your execution flow. In my case, as I've set a breakpoint, I can go directly to the breakpoint. And if I want, I can even go a couple steps back. So for example, we have this option list. We are looking for it to be 5. I can go a couple steps before. And what we see here, we see here a loop. We see all the local variables. So I don't need to do anything. I don't need to read the log files. I don't need to break my eyes. I see everything right here. And in just how many, like a couple minutes or less than a minute. And in this situation, like, yeah, I can go through step by step, see what have happened, what were the values. You can even see how DML statements and like SOQL queries are being used in your execution flow.
So I've got a question about the debug logs in general.
Yep.
Does this at all retain like the way that it's been set up inside of Salesforce when people actually go and configure debug logs, or is this completely separate and you have to configure them externally separately as well for what you want to see, like the debug levels?
So
I got you.
For the debug levels, like in general, once you press the download logs, give me a second.
Oh, so this is actually pulling directly from Salesforce's debug.
Yes.
I got you.
So once you press the download logs, if there is a configuration for the current user, we will leave it as is. If there was no configuration for debug levels, we will set it. So you even don't need to go to the Salesforce UI to enable log files.
Oh, well, that's cool.
Also, you can configure debug levels right from here. So just do everything, whatever you need. Press OK, and done. In case of the debugger, before we set up the finest levels for the debugging, we save your current levels, execute tests, and then we return back your levels so you won't lose them.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I really like that. That's very familiar for people who are coming, like you said, people who are coming from Java, people who are coming from C#. This is a very, very familiar interface. I only worked with C# for a little while with the Visual Studio and everything like that. But I worked with Java for a really long time and went through all their IDEs like NetBeans and Eclipse and all the heavy hitters. And this is, like you're saying, this is a very, very familiar interface. I like it a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And like, yes, the approach for IDEs is the same, like, I guess, everywhere.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah,
Ryan, are there any more questions?
No, we have some comments just like, hey, this is really cool and it's pretty slick. So yeah, I mean, outside of the 2 questions that we had in the channel, I haven't seen any on Twitter yet either. So
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Okay, if you guys give me 2 more minutes, I'll answer a bit about your Git question. And one more thing I want to highlight about the administrators.
Absolutely.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, so first thing about the Git, yes, we have built-in version control. So if you have a Git repository and if your project is in the Git, yeah, it's not enabled for this project. But like in general, it will give you very simple client options for commit, push, pull, see the differences, create branches, merge branches. So basic general Git stuff right from the IDE. I personally don't use it, like never, even when I was developing for .NET, I always prefer to use standalone clients. But if you want, you can do it from the IDE. Another cool thing here, it's our built-in local history. So it's built-in automated Git repository. Every time you push something to the organization or pull something from the organization, we create a commit. We allow you to see the difference of what was changed right here in the IDE. Okay, lots of spacing changes.
Yeah.
So you see directly like what was changed, and in case if, for example, like suddenly in the morning you came to the office and your code is not working, you just pull from the org, see the diff of what was changed, and then you can press the restore button and move to the previous version. And the cool thing is that like you just don't care about it. You just keep working, and in case if you need your repository, if you need to like restore some previous version, you can always get back to it.
Yeah, awesome. A great example of that was today I tried to have one of our developers jump into Volvo's org and crash a unit test so he could just show this debugging thing in live without him knowing what happened. But unfairly, he hopped on this morning and saw something was a little goofy, and he just opened this local history and solved it in what, about 15 seconds?
Yeah, because I see all the changes.
You weren't sneaky enough, man. You should have right
next time.
Right before.
And the last thing I wanted to mention is that like we are not only working for like making stuff for developers, because even like if you're a hardcore Apex or Lightning developer, you're still dealing with S objects, you're still dealing with like permissions, with layouts, because they still can fuck up your work. The same as validations and workflows. So you have to know about them, you have to deal with them all of the time. And in this case, like you've said about the interface of the Salesforce, I really hate the way how you work with field level security. Because in case, for example, if you already have an object with 50 fields, for example, and if by suddenly someone ends, I don't know, 3 or 4 new profiles and ask you to set up the proper field level security for those 50 fields, I guess you're stuck for at least a couple hours just doing the stupid mechanical work of setting the checkpoints. Mm-hmm. And right here for the S objects, we have built-in fields editor, so you can create or modify fields right here in the UI. Then you can switch to the field level security option, and right here on the left side, you see all the fields. On top, you see all the profiles. You can change your settings just with a couple clicks with the mouse. You have options for quick actions for fields, for profiles, and you have a great option to clone settings from one field to others. For example, you right-click on any field, select bulk apply, select what fields should have the same settings, press apply, that's it.
Yeah. This is like an awesome admin tool, too.
No, absolutely. It's an awesome admin tool.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't know if I'm more afraid of an admin being inside an IDE or, or if that's a good thing.
Yeah.
I like it. Actually, this is awesome.
Yeah. Actually, our lead admin downstairs, Oksana, she never thought she would be using an IDE. And to be honest with you, with these new tools and the tools that we're going to be adding, this IDE actually has become one of her favorite tools, and she's actually pretty comfortable now in it. And she's done no harm.
Well, I kind of like it in the same sense that, you know, Salesforce is across like all departments in your organization. Mm-hmm. I do like the idea of an organization sharing one tool and not having multiple tools. You know, if our admins were working inside of the same software that we were working inside of, it makes communication about what we're doing
a little bit easier.
bit easier.
Yeah. Our thinking is out there.
This is very surprising, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We actually did get a couple more questions in here.
Okay.
I don't know how much we have time for, but one of them was back to the whole DX thing with the compilation strategy. Are you going to be using the tooling API still, or is it going to be using the force.source.push and then parse the response, or is there some proprietary way that you're doing those compilation steps?
So for now, we are using both tooling and metadata API. We even use enterprise API sometimes because it works faster. For DX, for now, I don't know yet. It depends on how good or bad they will do their CLI. And like still, there is no public APIs for like DX available. So for now, like in general, like when working with stretch orgs, we still are using the same tooling API and metadata API for builds because it works faster. So our build takes 2 seconds, and for like Eclipse or like for SCOM CLI, it takes like 4 or 5+ seconds for a simple like change of one file. So in the future, like we'll see what they'll provide in APIs, but for now, I guess we'll like keep our own approach here.
Cool. All right.
And what was the other question, Ryan?
The other one was regarding the logs, and they were asking, in order to get that granularity with the debug logs, the log files must be huge. Is this mainly useful for simple execution paths with a given context due to the log truncation at like 2 megs? So
great question. Great question. It's a huge problem. Like being honest with you, it's a huge problem. The 2 megabytes limit. So like we have some ideas for, I guess, already for a year, how to make some advanced merging of different log files and, I don't know, get you like information about a huge workflow with the finest level. But there still are ideas only. So in general, like yes, in case if you hit like 2 megabytes limitations, then you need to play around a bit and try to debug a smaller part of the code. The cool thing here is that you can debug not only unit tests, but you can debug any anonymous Apex, or you can even set up the proper debug levels, go to your Visualforce or Lightning page, make a couple of clicks there, download the log file, and then right from the log file, start debugging it.
Cool. Yeah, that's kind of what I thought, is you're at the mercy, since Salesforce is the provider of the logs, you're still at the mercy of that 2 megabyte. We've truncated stuff that we know you need, but we can't fit it all in here.
Yeah.
I hate that. I was dealing with that last week. But
yeah, sometimes those logs. I have a sort of an odd question for you guys. What about executing SOCL?
Cool. Great question. I almost forgot about it. Thank you very much. So for SOCL, we have a pretty cool SOCL editor. Let me show it to you. So we are treating SOCL and anonymous Apex a bit different than everyone else. We allow you to create different files with queries and anonymous Apex.
Oh,
so
really?
for example, once you create a query file, once you open it, on the right side, you see a schema explorer with all of the queryable objects.
Oh,
you can
goodness.
expand
you got
it.
fields in there, don't you?
Yes, it's like select star from account.
Oh, that's
you can also select something like just like a couple of fields from the account, and then you have all of the child relations. So for example, you can, with a couple of clicks, select fields from case, then select a couple of fields from contacts. And unlike, for example, like developer console, when you see that child results is an XML, I don't have a built-in XML parser, so I hate that way. Once you press execute SOCL, you see all results right here. You can see child cases, child contacts at the same time, in the same table as the child tables. Everything's parsed, everything's shown, so... And then like here, you press Ctrl-A, Ctrl-C, and put it into your class file and enjoy it.
Man.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that's great.
That's cool. I dig that right there.
I was thinking from a developer standpoint, but also from like an admin, if you were like, hey man, why is this thing not like, why can't I populate this one field, or why can't I see this one field, or this or that, the other? You can throw it in here as an admin too, and you can build a query, even though admins aren't, I guess it's not like a required admin trait, right, to be able to build SOCL queries.
No, but to that point,
this is easy.
And as we do have to wrap up, I'd like to ask, kind of like the last question here, but multiple orgs and handling multiple orgs, how hard is it to swap between them? So say, and I say this because that question brings me up to product support, running queries and things like that, trying to figure out why, say with an ISV, someone's data isn't displaying properly.
Run a query on their org.
Exactly.
Rather than your typical development work?
So
Cool question. I understand it. Yeah, we have some like our users requested such functionality before. We haven't done this yet. So for now, this query file is stuck to this project. But we have some ideas how to allow to, I'd say, share query files and anonymous APIs between different projects. And in terms of like regular work with different organizations, so it's very easy to include into one solution couple of projects. So for example, I have added another project to the solution. And right now I have in my solution at the same time to different projects. I can switch between different files and them just how I want.
okay, so the files are associated to the org.
Yep.
Okay, so that's awesome that you're not switching instances.
Yep. And at the same time, so for example, I've added a second project to my solution, and now all of the panels are aware about this. So in test results, I see both projects. In debug logs, I also see both projects. In the code coverage, the same stuff here. So I get all the information about the two orgs at the same time.
All right, well, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great. That's super helpful. Yeah, look at that. Man. I don't know why we haven't been using this, to be honest.
I don't know why. You have to.
I think I'm going to send a link to the boss
Yeah.
after this episode. Just saying, you should watch.
Yeah, I dig that for the heavy lifting type stuff that, you know, when I'm actually sitting in front of my desk or standing and using something here, that would be, this is cool. I totally dig it. You know, I've been using Maven's Mate because it's light and I can, you know, I start it up and it's done and it's there. But this is kind of slick, man. And it's not Eclipse.
Well, Ryan, to that point, we've included a link below so you can go directly to the welkinsuite.com and you can actually get a 30-day free trial of the Welkin Suite. So if you want to give it a go, try it out. Is it a full copy for the 30 days or?
Yes, of course. We don't know why our people are limiting functionality for all free trials, to be honest. I don't know what is the sense of such stuff.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
And also, guys, like if you as well will try Welkin Suite, there is in the help menu there is a getting started option, which will show you about 50 different like 10 to 20 seconds videos with all the different functionality. And like in general, we are trying to like track what features you have used and what features you haven't used. So we will show you only those that you haven't tried yet. So it's about like 10 minutes of videos and lots of different features explained.
That's awesome. So it knows what you've done so far.
Yeah. And this is even nice for the users that have used this for 1 or 2 years because they just quickly open this while drinking a cup of coffee and it will only show them the newest features because we're releasing every 2-3 weeks. So the IDE is changing very rapidly and easy way for you to keep up.
I have to admit that's pretty unique. I really like that.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Totally. Well, all right, Daniel, Vladimir, thank you both so much for joining us today. I'm going to figure out where my mouse is.
Yeah, that was really cool. That was yeah, and I may have to upgrade my Mac after all.
I think there's so much more there than I had even anticipated there being. I knew it was a big tool, but there's a lot of features there that I almost feel like.
And much more features that we even haven't tried.
Yeah, we could have talked for another 2 hours.
Oh, thank you both so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you guys for your questions and for inviting us as well. It was fun.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
So down below, remember you can follow the Welkin Suite on Twitter at the Welkin Suite. For email, if you want to email them with any questions, you can visit info@welkinsuite.com and go to their website, welkinsuite.com. Remember, you can follow us on Twitter at system.debug, at Life with Ryan, not this dude.
That's here. Yeah.
This is at the infamous RJ.
You can tweet to me at Life with Ryan if you want to. See what happens.
And
I don't know what's gonna happen.
I don't want to know what kind of Twitter traffic you get now.
I got some interesting people on there.
Remember, if you like what you saw, please subscribe, like the video. If you didn't like it, I guess click thumbs down. Yeah. I want to be that person. But, all right. Thank you so much, everybody. You all have a great day. Ryan, you going to play us out?
I'll play us out.